Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Slcmof, and I'm back again with another video. And in this one, I want to break down the Batman Unmasked first episode, which is essentially like a kind of podcast type event thing. I don't know the best way to describe it. You'll see it here in just a moment, as I have compiled, I basically cut down the 33-minute episode into about 5 minutes. And in the future, this episode will be released after the episode 2, 3, 4, and 5. And, they'll talk about some of the things that happened in the actual episode, so it'll be kind of like a spoiler cast type thing. But for the first episode, it was basically just an interview for some of the creative choices behind the game itself. So what I've essentially done here is I have cut down the 33-minute episode till about 5 minutes. And if you'd like to fast forward down to just the breakdown, I will be doing an analysis of all this gameplay. And largely, I have cut out the talking and just put in most of the gameplay. Okay, so that's a lot of what I did. I put in some, commentary from some of the creators of the game, but large in part, it is some of the gameplay stuff, and that's what I will be focusing on in my breakdown and commentary. So feel free to go and check that out in the description below if you'd like to fast forward. If not, enjoy this condensed version of the Batman Unmasked episode 1.
No, what are you guys bringing to Batman? You know what I mean? This is what, for me as a Batman fan, for Tony as a Batman fan, Batman's been done well before. Like, what were you excited for to come to and tackle on this project?
Yeah, I think this will be a Telltale Batman game, and I think there's been great Batman games before, and they've been really focused on action and skill, but we're bringing the drama and the detective work and some of these aspects that we do really well with our format. Like, we're going to be playing a lot of Bruce in our game, which is different than other Batman games, as well as a lot of Batman. And at certain points in our game, you get to choose whether you play as Bruce or Batman. So, Telltale has a kind of a unique way, a story-driven game, and it's our take on Batman. When we look at it, we look at your Batman no matter what suit you're wearing, whether you're wearing the bat suit or whether you're wearing the tuxedo as Bruce. So you're always Batman. Everything that can happen as Bruce can affect what happens as Batman and vice versa. So that was really kind of where we were grounded, this duality of always being Batman in every context.
I mean, the only difference would be Batman is Bruce Wayne if there's other people around. But yeah, he is always Batman, because Bruce Wayne is more...
And even when we are Bruce, it's then that question of, do I want to talk to Falcone and do I want to be a jerk about it? Or do I want to try to be the aloof playboy? Do I want to look weak? Do I want to start letting that Bruce Wayne part, or the Batman part go out as Bruce Wayne?
Later Batman, or more the Dark Knight, more brutal Batman, and you can make those choices of how you want to go and how you want to play.
I think it's a conversation with Catwoman on the rooftop where she's like, well, why do you do this? And the choices pop up and it's like, well, I want to be the hero, or I need to instill fear and all. And right there was the first time of like,
or Gotham needs me. Yeah.
Exactly.
And, he's the world's greatest detective, so he needs to be able to take on any situation, be prepared, and dive in there. So I'm fascinated about the idea of delving into the decision-making of Batman, and hopefully...
Batman's and vice versa.
I'll talk Batman first. So Batman, how you act as Batman, if you're really brutal, the city kind of turns against you. So our game is early on in Batman's career. It's not, 10 years in. It's...
Ballpark?
1 or 2 years, 3 years, somewhere like that.
He hasn't had 15 Robins yet.
Right.
Gotcha.
Exactly. He has had 0 Robins at this point. So Gotham's still not sure how to react to this masked vigilante.
Sure.
And so depending on how you act, Gotham acts different. And so depending on how you act as Bruce, with Falcone, like you said, that we showed in the E3 demo, or with Harvey Dent, or some of the other characters that we have, that impacts how Gotham perceives Bruce as well.
Side of Harvey, but at the expense of your relationship with Vicki and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much fun when you're Batman and you're interacting with Gordon. We come in as Bruce, and you are right there with Bruce. You know what happened while you were Batman. But Gordon thinks he's talking to an entirely different person
an
at
idiot.
this point. Yes,
And
right?
the relationship's different.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, right?
And it's so much fun to sit there with Gordon as Bruce, and when you have the option to make little jabs at him, like that are kind of, you're in the know, you get this duality, you get the real Batman experience, which is Gordon is a completely different Gordon when you're in the suit than when you're Bruce.
And then, because that was the first moment where I was like, we're making decisions as Bruce Wayne, and how does that affect it, and how's it going to affect Batman? And when we get in there and it's like, do you shake his hand in front of this room full of people?
Yep.
And it's such a small thing, but it's like, under no circumstance do I shake this guy's hand, but then I don't no longer look like this stupid playboy that I am.
Right.
And then I was like, man, it was really hard, I guess, for Christian Bale to act drunk in that scene. Because I never thought it would be, but here I am in these moments as Bruce Wayne. Interesting. Talk to me about your Harvey Dent. because when I'm friends with Travis Willingham, so I know him already as this big, hulking, lovable dude. Yeah. And then I'm playing the game, and Harvey Dent shows up, and that's exactly who it is. Is that how your Harvey Dent was always going to be, or did Travis influence that?
Well, I think Travis influenced it a little bit.
Yeah.
But we were always going with a bigger. We wanted a big Harvey Dent because of where Harvey may or may not go.
Yeah.
Right?
Based on my decisions, Telltale, how you doing?
That's right. We thought it would be a cool evolution to have somebody that's a little bit bigger than Batman there. So that was part of it. Also, he just brings a real good kind of politician nature to Harvey. Because in the start of episode 1, Harvey's running for mayor. And so that's what that gala is that you played in the E3 demo, where it's a campaign thing. So he plays that role really well as the politician. So.
Sure. Laura Bailey, Catwoman, Selena Kyle.
Awesome.
Is there any reason? I don't think she's been in a million things. You watch it, she's Catwoman, nails it.
I think we've seen a lot of, in the E3 demo and in the pictures, we've seen a lot of Batman with his antagonists, as it were. But Batman has a history of working with people like Robin and Batwoman and Batgirl. Do we get to see any of those types of characters?
Yes, you may. Batman will absolutely work with some different characters, and they may be unexpected, which is cool. And you may get to choose some of that too, of how much you want to work with different people.
Okay, so it's fair to say I probably overplayed the editing there at the end of those clips, but nonetheless, we get the point. And we now, that was a condensed version of Batman Unmasked episode 1. That is about as condensed as you can get, 33-minute show into 5 minutes. And here we are at the straight bare bones. You can see I'm in my editing software. That's the first 6 minutes of the video. This is the last minute, and essentially I have literally just edited out the commentary. I've edited out all of the talking. I've edited out the volume. There's no volume to any of these clips. This is just purely a minute of straight gameplay out of, an episode that's probably an hour and a half, 2 hours long, somewhere in that range. This is a minute of just raw gameplay here. In large in part, this is new stuff, by the way. This is extensions of scenes and this sort of thing. So very, very cool game that we got new gameplay out of here. And by no means is this breakdown, in the fact that the game does literally come out in 4 days as I'm recording this video. By no means am I trying to, crack the code of Batman the Telltale Series Episode 1, because, one, you couldn't do it from this gameplay. It's very, large in part non-spoiler. But there is a lot of great stuff in here that we're going to be taking a look at, and the first of which is this right here, the return of what we saw in Batman Arkham Knight. I'm not insinuating that they copied Batman Arkham Knight by any means, but there is something later on in the trailer that I think is very much so resembles Batman Arkham Origins and Batman Arkham Knight to a degree as well. Whether that was intentional or not, you may know what I'm talking about when we get there. Anyway, we see Wayne Tower in the background, just a great imagery here, and I'm hoping that this is not like in Batman Arkham Knight, where you would be on the phone with Alfred for like 5 minutes on your damn wrist, and you couldn't run. If you remember in that game, they introduced face cam into your, when you were talking to people. So in Arkham City, when Alfred came over the line, you could just run to your next objective, and you could hear him talking to you. But in Arkham Knight, they tried to, kind of artificially extend the length of the game, whether intentionally or by accident, but that's basically what happened. Anyway, I'm hoping we're not going to have any 10-minute Skype calls with Alfred here, but that's pretty cool. He's probably triangulating a position or something like that. So here, a great shot of Bruce Wayne. We saw this in the trailer, but I just love the look in his eyes. He has a sense of sort of resigned to him that I can't really place, but he doesn't have this sort of grandeur, playboy sort of look to him here. He's just in the Batcave, and you can see the sort of soft side of Bruce Wayne just in this shot alone, just kind of the look in his eyes. So I really like that shot there. And here we have a smiling Bruce Wayne. What? I mean, of course, he's playing the playboy. He's playing it up. He's hosting the party. And here we actually have two people. So this is Alfred. We'll get to the good shot right here. Here's the great shot. So there's a lot to look at here, actually, more than you would otherwise think. So here on the left we have Alfred, okay, pretty typical looking Alfred, pretty traditional from what we've seen with some slight variations, but there's Alfred. We also have, in case you didn't notice, this is Vicki Vale, okay. Now also you can notice all the women here, they've got these very nice pearls on, so this is indicative that she's a report. I'm fairly certain that's Vicki Vale, but this is not just your typical get together, right? This is the wealthiest people in Gotham all coming together. And we can also see Harvey Dent here, and Harvey Dent in this game is freaking massive. He is a tank, and if you watch the clips, I recommend you go back and watch it if you didn't. And basically, one of the designers on the game, or somebody on the game working on it, described that essentially what you have is they made him this big because of an event that may or may not happen of him coming into Two-Face that will introduce a unique dynamic. So yes, he pretty much at that point confirmed that Harvey Dent is going to become Two-Face at some point in the game, whether it be a part of your choices or whatnot. I'm sure that's reasonable, and he basically confirmed it. Okay, so, that's an interesting dynamic that the idea that Harvey Dent as Two-Face can sort of physically match, or is a physical match to Batman, because you can see a side-by-side clip of them together later here. He is bigger than Bruce Wayne. He has more muscle. He is just bigger overall. He's taller. He's just thicker. He's just a bigger guy. So that's an interesting dynamic, whereas in the comics, and that's definitely a deviation from the canon, because generally you're going to see that Harvey Dent, his only real, match, or Two-Face's only real match to Batman is having a big crime sort of, operation. He's got a lot of henchmen and thugs. But here, I'm getting the insinuation that Harvey Dent as Two-Face can actually physically match up against Batman, which is going to be an interesting dynamic later on in the season. Oh, I forgot to mention, there's this other guy here. Let's go ahead and scroll back. Oh, very slow. Okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm arrowing back. Anyway, this guy, I have no idea who this guy is. So if you have any suggestions of who it may be, he was talking to Alfred as Bruce Wayne was entering into his own gala. And of course, Bruce Wayne, I think the insinuation here is that Bruce Wayne is showing up fashionably late to his own party. It certainly feels like that's the case. He's just showing up for the first time, and everybody's already here, but Harvey Dent is already giving his speech. That's okay. Alfred runs the show anyway, right? Okay, so here we have this exact scene, I believe that we were at earlier. This may be Vicki Vale here, hard to tell, but this is certainly Alfred. This is certainly Bruce Wayne. And here we have the terrible and the villainous Carmine Falcone. And this grimace here just really tells you everything about this scene. And these guys aren't happy. They're the henchmen. Carmine Falcone, he is not arriving at this gala being hosted by Bruce Wayne because he has any interest in what, Two-Face or Harvey Dent is running on his platform for mayor. Really, he is just here to basically, it's an ego show. It's to show that he has power over Gotham, and this grimace shows it all. I mean, this look, he is just in complete control, man. He runs the city, and that's the look that he wants to give everybody, and everybody freezes and looks at Carmine Falcone and Bruce Wayne as they emerge together to potentially shake hands or to not shake hands. It is totally the choice of the player, but really, the animation just totally nails his look here of his sort of pride and his sense of grandeur and ownership over this gala, but also Gotham as a whole. So here we have Carmine Falcone playing with Bruce Wayne, and once again, this is an interesting look for Bruce Wayne. He doesn't have this sort of ego sense of basically ownership of the room, of the environment, of who he's talking to here. He very much so feels submissive to Carmine Falcone, who again, you can see he just feels like he is in complete control. He's got this smile to him. He's pointing, very vindictive of sort of controlling mannerisms and just speech overall. And here we have Batman just completely beating the shit out of people. And then we have Selina Kyle, who, to her surprise, Batman has arrived to sort of crash the party here. And they're basically talking about why he does what he does. And Catwoman, of course, doesn't really understand that he does it to be heroic. He does it to save the city that he loves. She doesn't get all that. She's just trying to get rich, right? And certainly we see here a scene that is very much so resemblant of a previous Batman game, Batman Arkham Origins. So we can see here, I love everything about the Batsuit to me is just so amazing. So essentially the insinuation here is that there was a shootout between the police and the henchmen. By the way, the same henchmen that were raiding the City Hall building in the trailer. So he's reconstructing it, and he's trying to break down and sort of see what went on here. And that looked like a pretty big shootout of what we saw there. And here, we can see a lot of things actually from this shot. First of all, we see the skyline of Gotham here and the Gotham City TV news. And we have Jack Ryder. And indeed, Jack Ryder is reporting on what we have spoken about previously. The idea that the way in which the Catwoman fight plays out is dependent upon whether or not the Gotham City TV news chopper reports on the fight between Batman and Selina Kyle, which most certainly does happen. That happens no matter how you play the game. That's the opening scene of the game. Okay, also something to take note of is that we have basically this sort of, a dystopian view of Gotham. You can see unemployment near record high as jobs investors withdraw from the city. And basically, you know, Gotham is in economic turmoil. The leadership is basically in turmoil as well. And we have this sort of populist uprising of Harvey Dent, who's trying to take the reins over Gotham City. But certainly the establishment of actually, this is sort of resemblant of our political 2016 run in the United States. But certainly Carmine Falcone is hesitant to, or reluctant to let that happen. And we have Mayor Hill as well, who's the current mayor. I believe Hill, right? That's who it is. Okay, so here, this is a very interesting scene. Somebody that has played the game in full has essentially reported on what's going on here. So we have the police crashing Batman's interrogation. And, you know, one of the things I loved about Batman, I've always loved about Batman, is that he doesn't take people back to the Batcave. You know, you can probably count on one hand how many scenes in the comics and elsewhere where Batman is basically torturing somebody in the Batcave to get information out of them. He does his torture, he does his interrogation in the field, and I've always loved that about the character, okay? So he's basically just beating the shit out of this guy trying to get information out of him. And somebody that has reported, that has seen the game, that this is the way in which we can sort of, you know, structure from the very get-go of who our Batman is. Is he somebody that's a little bit more, you know, a little bit more of a nice guy, a little bit more forgiving of criminals, and a little bit more understanding? One of the things that we've learned about the game is that basically Batman is building a state-of-the-art asylum that is not Arkham Asylum. So maybe we have a little bit of a glimmer of hope out of Batman, a very young Bruce Wayne that is not so much what we've been getting recently, you know, 50-year-old Batman that hates life and hates everybody and hates everything and wants to kill everybody and this sort of thing. Okay, but essentially the scene is this. You have the option to break this. Maybe it's this thug, maybe it's somebody else's, who knows. You have the choice to break somebody's arm and just torture somebody vigilantly to get information out of them, or to do, you know, a little bit, be a little nicer to them. And I guess the idea is, how far can you push somebody? Of course, your objective is to get the information out of them or whatever's going on here, but the police is crashing the party, and a great look of the Batsuit here from behind. I just love this Batsuit. I mean, I just absolutely love it. So who knows what Batman's going to do with that female police officer there? Probably knock her out. That's probably what's going to happen. And here we have Catwoman, who is robbing a bank. And Batman's, of course, trying to stop this. And here she is making her escape up some sort of chimney or something to the effect. And that is pretty much the end of it here. And just the main thing I want to point out of this playthrough, or the new gameplay footage that we got, is the white eyes. I mean, it is remarkable. We've never gotten it in a video game. We've never gotten it in this capacity in any sort of animation or anything like this. It is a bright glowing white eyes, and it's just amazing. It's like your Detective Vision in the Arkham games, but it's permanent. It's always like this. And certainly this may create some problems where Batman's hiding in the shadows and he's supposed to be secret, so maybe he'll close his eyes or something. I don't know. But of course, it's comics, right? There's no rationale way that Batman has all white eyes. And certainly, Telltale was pulling from the comic book aesthetic in the entire environments of the game. So here, great look there. I mean, I'm just loving this game so far, guys. The episode 1 premieres in 4 days. Let me know your thoughts on this breakdown in the comment section below. I'm so ecstatic to play the game. I will be doing a full live playthrough on August 2nd once the game comes out, and I'll also be doing additional breakdown, analysis, and commentary videos throughout the next month, and speculation for the future episodes. All kinds of fun stuff to talk about. And I just cannot wait to get my hands on the game. So anyway, guys, hope you all have enjoyed the video. And if you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. My name is Slcmof, and we'll see you in the next one.